Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Tuesday. As you are listening to the show today, it is Tourism Tuesday and it is Luray Page County's turn at the mic. So I am pre-recording today with Gina Hilliard. She is the president of the Luray Page Chamber of Commerce. And Gina, you're in a unique position as the president of the chamber because in Luray and Page County, the chamber also manages a lot of the tourism and the tourism dollars and marketing and promotion and everything that goes along with that, where a lot of other localities, they're separate entities.
That is correct. We are very unique, but blessed at the same time to not only be a chamber, but we are also the visitor center for the county. We are the DMO, which is a destination marketing organization. So we are the official DMO for Page County. So we are a visitor center that is open 7 days a week, 9 to 5. We do the marketing. We work with the county with the funds they receive from our transient occupancy tax, which is the lodging in the county and the tax that they receive. And we get a portion of that to be able to use strictly for marketing Page County and get more visitors to visit or return from a visit again.
I remember a couple of months ago, I sat in on a Zoom presentation that you did on tourism in Page County. It was kind of like an orientation. And I think the thing that struck me, at least initially, was some of what you were talking about was an education perspective, and not even just for the regular residents that live in Luray and Page County, but for those frontline people at gas stations, at hotel check-in places, at restaurants, things like that, because we're all guilty of having no idea sometimes of what's happening and what there is to do in our own backyard. We just think there's nothing to do. You touched on that in that presentation a little bit.
Absolutely. And that's where the presentation came from, is we wanted to be able to share with those frontline workers in the tourism businesses exactly who we are, what we do, what Page County has to offer, because we have so many fantastic, unique things. And we want them to not only be the face of their organization, but for the face of Page County and share with their visitors, and that people are passing through, whether they're just getting gas or they're staying at their hotel and they're checking out or checking in. And we want them to share and say, hey, we have a great visitor center. You can either go get more information from them, or here's their website. Or yes, these are some great things that we have to offer. Not only do we have the famous Luray Caverns and the fantastic Shenandoah National Park in our background, our backyard, but we also have all these other amazing things that you can do and see and eat and shop and be able to enjoy. And we want to be able to educate these folks on all of that information.
I think sometimes we as residents of our communities don't realize, the economic impact that tourism has on our community and the tax dollars. It's actually saving us from the money that these tourists spend when they come to town. But I don't think we also realize how much of a group effort it is, even with you as the point person and the chamber as the point person for tourism as a whole. We all have to play a role in making sure when people come visit our towns that they leave happy and wanting to come back.
Absolutely. And to even touch on that, for an example, the last stats that I received from the state of Virginia and the U.S. Travel Association was in 2019 is the last report I have. And we had, just in Page County alone, 76,416,120 was spent in visitor spending for Page County. So basically, if you want to break that down to be a little bit more of a realistic number, that is 209,359 per day that Page County brings in from these tourists coming to visit our area. And in anything from the tax revenue, the state tax they bring in, the payroll that people have to, pay out in that, the extra jobs that are created from these tourists. So another great figure to break down is, on average in Page County, we, in each household, we pay $710 less in state and local taxes as a result of these tourist spendings. So in other words, if it was not for these tourists coming here and staying and spending their money, each household would probably have to pay an additional $710 more in taxes a year.
I had that conversation probably a couple of years ago with Justin Kearns from Winchester Frederick County Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I had no idea that there was a way to calculate what my tax benefit is to tourists coming to town. And he explained that process to me. And it was like this giant light bulb moment that I kept thinking, I am never again going to complain about traffic, because I can wait an extra minute during peak season when tourists are visiting if it means I don't have to spend, in your case, an extra $700 a year in various taxes.
Exactly. And it is a phenomenal thing. And I know that a lot of locals, like you said, take it for granted with what we have here and the tourists visiting, but it is a phenomenal breakdown and how it does benefit us individually as people who live here.
I think sometimes when you live and grow up in a community, you do forget the cool things that are there to do because you start to take them for granted. They're always there. Living in Luray Caverns has been there forever. So you may not always think about it being there as you would if you go visit somewhere else. So just making sure that those people know to send them to you where you do know where all of the things are is got to be really important.
Well, and that's the thing is we also promote, and even to my family and friends, be a tourist in your own community and realize all the great things that we have to offer. You don't have to drive an hour, 2 hours away to experience something that you want to do with your family or your spouse. Do something in your own backyard. Book a trip down the zip line, Bear Mountain zip line, or go do the escape room at Escape 211. Visit Luray Caverns. All residents in Page County get in free.
What?
So it doesn't matter. Yeah. If
I did not know that.
Your driver's license, yeah, you get in free. So go and take your kids and show them. I've been multiple times and I'm still amazed every time I walk in there and walk through a tour. But they have so much to offer there. And then walk through the Toy and Train Museum and the Antique Car Museum. Do take your kids horseback riding through one of our companies. So be a tourist in your own community. And then you're not only giving back and you're supporting those mom and pop places, but then you're also experiencing that and having memorable moments. And then also realizing we do have so much to offer in our own backyard.
And you're in a unique geographic position too, because people in Winchester, Berryville, Front Royal, Harrisonburg, you're only a half an hour to 45 minutes away from any of those places. It's a great day trip. It's a great weekend getaway that we used to do that a lot when Josh was little. We would take these vacations away from him, but I didn't want to go too far. So we would go somewhere that was still within driving distance of coming home so that if there was an emergency, we could get back. Like the cabins and all of the different places that you have to stay in and around Page County. It's a great way to get away without getting away.
Absolutely. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. We support our partners, our surrounding partners, and we actually just went a couple weekends ago and to Lexington to take our son for his birthday. I wanted to go to the safari park because they have sloths and he's obsessed with sloths. So he got to meet 2 of them and feed them and pet them. So yeah, so you don't have to, tourists don't see boundary lines. They don't know the difference between Page County and Rockingham or Winchester or where on. And we support our surrounding partners in those assets. So if somebody comes in and asks, and we don't have it here in Page County, then we're going to send them somewhere through our partners and support one another. Absolutely.
How much work goes into maintaining the visitor center? Because I've spent a lot of time over there in your office and in the visitor center. You've got rack cards, you've got so much information, and everybody has to know a little bit about a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. So our staff has to basically be up on all current things to be able to share as much information they can with our tourists. So calling them, trying to get our brochure, racks full, keeping the visitor center open and staffed 7 days a week, 9 to 5, making sure that we're answering the phone calls. And we get phone calls, anything from help us find lodging. So we'll take down their information and their email and the dates, and we'll send out a mass email to our lodging folks saying, here, it's basically an inquiry. Here's somebody looking for a place to stay. And if they have the dates available and meet the criteria of what they're looking for, then they can contact them back directly. Our restaurants, trying to call them to find out what their hours, seasonal hours are. And that way we're not sending someone to somewhere that is closed or missing the boat on something. So it is a constant thing for our staff to keep up with. In events, making sure that we're sharing that there's a triathlon in town this weekend, or there's a concert happening. And we want to make sure that we're sending them and giving them as much information about their stay during their time here as much as possible.
And we've been talking about tourists that are typically on vacation. We never even touched on the wedding industry and the number of tourists by virtue of attending a wedding in Luray, Page County that show up within your borders.
Absolutely. We still claim that we're the #2 wedding destination in the country. And so we have a lot of brides and grooms who come in here looking for information to share with their guests. So we'll provide them our visitors guides. So then in their downtime that they're not doing something with the wedding, they're here. It's basically a vacation. It's a trip away from them, a destination wedding. So we want to be able to share information that they can do with their families in between time while they're still here for a wedding.
Let's take a break. You just talked about providing them with the visitor's guide. I want to talk a little bit about the visitor's guide and what you do from a marketing and an advertising and a promotion perspective, because that in and of itself is a whole nother job, I think sometimes. Can we talk about that in the next segment?
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our pre-recorded conversation with Gina Hilliard. She is the president at Luray Page Chamber of Commerce. It is Tourism Tuesday, Luray Page County edition, and we're getting a look behind the curtain, a peek behind the curtain at how tourism works in Luray Page County. We're going to continue that conversation when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a Quick Money Chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Tuesday. As you are listening to the show today, it is, of course, Tourism Tuesday, and it is Luray Page County's turn at the mic. So I am pre-recording my conversation today with Gina Hilliard. She is the president at the Luray Page Chamber of Commerce. They also manage the visitor center in Luray Page County and handle, Gina, do you guys handle like all of the tourism stuff? Is it like 90% of the tourism stuff? What's the breakout for what the chamber handles and who handles the rest of it?
So we do pretty much handle majority of it. We do have a great partnership with the county. So if there's anything that we need to either partner together on, or maybe they want to be able to take the lead on something. For example, we're a part of a Shenandoah Valley Travel partnership, and both of us attend. I represent here at the visitor center. She represents as far as the county level. And so we've rotated years where she pays the fee one year and then I pay. And then as far as duties that come along with it, or if we have to vote on anything, we try to work together to make sure that we're doing the best for Page County.
When we went to break, we were talking a little bit about weddings and the people that are coming to visit the area because they're attending a wedding or having their own wedding there. And that, in effect, makes them tourists in a lot of situations. And you talked about giving them the visitor's guide. We chatted briefly before we started recording about the amount of promotion and advertising that goes into getting these people to come to Luray, Page County. It is crazy the amount of energy and effort and messaging that you have to do.
Absolutely. And we need to make sure that messaging is consistent and concise and not confusing. So I'll back up a little bit and kind of give a little bit of breakdown of where and how we're funded. So in Page County, what we call transient occupancy tax, we call it TOT funds, that all lodging in Page County, rather that's mostly majority cabins. We are the cabin capital of Virginia. It could be some B&Bs. There might be a hotel, but anybody that is in the county limits, not in the town limits, they pay the town, collect a tax. They technically collect 10.3%. 5% of that goes to the state of Virginia. And then 5.3% goes to the state of Virginia. And the remaining 5% goes to the local county level. Within that 5%, the county keeps 2%, and they can put that into their general funds. But by law, anything collected over 2% must be spent on tourism marketing. So we put in our request every year to continue supporting our mission and what we're doing here as the official DMO for the county. And we ask for an amount of funds to be able to put in our budget to continue that tourism marketing for Page County. So then that funds gets processed, we get that, and that is then turned around to where we can do all kinds of marketing for Page County. And we are across the board open and try to concentrate on multiple avenues. Some people want to concentrate on digital. I know everybody thinks everything's headed towards the digital world, but I'll be frank, everything is not just completely digital. You still need to print. A lot of people think print is dead. That is not. Print is strong as ever. There has been studies that still 48% of people will, as far as consumer travel goes, will still pick up a printed guide. And it's also proven that millennials actually want printed guides more than baby boomers. So print is not dead. So we do anything from marketing with the state of Virginia and our great partnership there with VRLTA, which is Virginia Restaurant Travel Lodging Association, and our partnership there, the Shenandoah Valley Travel Association. And then we have a print guide as well. And that is our visitor's guide, destination guide that we put out. And we put it out to our community and they can put an advertisement in there. They have their listing in there. And that visitor guide is not only put out here locally, but we also have distribution companies that we work with in partnership to make sure that visitor's guide is pushed out even further. It is all up and down 95, all your 81 corridors. It's in all the state of Virginia welcome centers. It's in the rest areas. It's in all your regional tourism offices in the state of Virginia. It is showcased in trade shows throughout the state and the surrounding states. It is put up at the Shenandoah National Park. Nobody else can put up their single brochures in the Shenandoah National Park. So if you advertise in our guide and the partnership that we have with them, then they're going to be seen.
It's a back door into Shenandoah National Park.
Yeah. So we have a great partnership with all of these folks to where our visitor's guide is put out. We also have it obviously on our website. So if they don't want a physical copy, they can actually download a copy on their phone. So if you go to visitsluraypage.com, you'll be able to download the current visitor's guide. And what's gone into the visitor's guide is anything from all of our lodging, whether it's cabins, campgrounds, B&Bs, hotels, whatever it may be, hotels, motels, B&Bs. It also has the shops. It has restaurants. It has attractions, recreation, arts. It has some services. It has all of our wedding venues in there and services. So it is a very thorough guide that will definitely help you in planning something while you're here.
Do you print those every year? Do you do them every other year? Because I would imagine a lot of things change over the course of even just a year, especially coming out of the year we just had, that you really need to keep them updated.
Absolutely. It is definitely a yearly production that we put out. Because to your point, businesses, unfortunately, sometimes go out of business, or maybe people retire and close, and then others pop up. We've had so many coming out of this pandemic year that have opened up, and we want to be able to make sure that they're shown just as equally as everybody else. So it is definitely a yearly production that we put together, and we do that pretty much in-house with a partnership of someone that helps us put that guide together. But we're selling the ads, we're putting the pictures and laying it out and displaying it, and then it's out and about.
I knew that about the photos because I'm on some sort of email chain with Edie, who is constantly begging for photos and high quality images and all of the things that come with putting together something of the quality of the visitor's guide.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is photos, videos. That's what is intriguing people. They want to see things. They want to see people experiencing that because they want to picture themselves and their family doing that. So yeah, we're always in need of good, high quality photos.
Do you do those and put them together like in the off season? I would imagine people are traveling to Luray Page County year round. How do you decide when it's time to release the new one?
So we try to basically, with our website or any of our marketing, we put out the pictures that is based on that season we're trying to promote. So right now it is in the middle of the summer. So summer photos are on our website, but we are gearing up and getting ready and asking for people who have fall photos from last fall. And that way we can go ahead and have that marketing ready to go and ready to be replaced. So when that transition happens, it will then be fall pictures they'll be seeing.
And the other cool thing, you mentioned that you put the visitor's guide on your website. The other piece of the web is that, say you're a business that opened after the visitor's guide got printed this year and you lost your opportunity to have that ad in there, you still have the ability to be able to promote them on the website in some of the digital marketing. And I know that you guys do a lot of co-op, where if one business can't afford it by themselves, 4 of them get together and do an ad, which I think is great for a lot of the smaller businesses.
Absolutely. We try to work with everybody, and a lot of our shops and a lot of our restaurants do that, and they partner together. And so instead of taking out a single ad, they're able to split that cost. And we have a lot of great partners with VTC or SVTA, and we take out an ad. And within that ad that we take out a bigger space and we co-op that space. So it's more affordable for them to go through us in that co-op than it would be for them to contact them individually and take out an ad.
Oh yeah, I've seen the prices. I'm sure that it is worth every penny because it is a very effective piece of advertising. You were talking earlier about print not being dead, and it totally isn't. And the Virginia is for Lovers Guide is a perfect example of that, but it don't come cheap. And if you're just a little local, really cool restaurant, sometimes it's a little crazy when you see the price tag to get a single standalone ad in there. You need those kind of cooperative opportunities.
Right. And we look at that as valued partnership for our community businesses, to where if they go through us, we help absorb that cost and they just do a co-op ad with us.
So if somebody is listening and we'll start with if they are a business located in Luray Page County and they feel like they've missed out on something tourism related, how do they reach out to you to say, hey, this is who we are and what we do? What should we know and what should we be doing? How should they make that first step?
So they can either stop by the office, they can give us a call at 540-743-3915. They can visit our website and basically come in and talk to us. Let us know that they are a brand new business, or maybe they've been here for a while and they haven't had that partnership with us, and they realize that, hey, these are some great opportunities that they didn't know about, that this is, oh, wow, they do all this stuff. This is fantastic. We want to be able to promote every business in Page County and send people to them and for them to be successful and thrive.
And then if somebody is listening in Winchester or Wardensville or Berryville, and they're thinking, I need to get my hands on one of those visitors guides for a weekend away with these kids or a day trip for these kids, where could they get a visitor's guide? Can they reach out to you and have one mailed to them?
Absolutely. They can email us at info@luraypage.com and request a guide, or they can call us and we'll take down their address over the phone and we'll mail them one out. Or if they want the digital version and not a physical copy, they can download that off of our website at visitluraypage.com.
So you got all your boxes checked and you're good to go.
Absolutely. Any information they're requesting, we'll be happy to mail them.
Gina, thank you for kind of giving me a peek behind the curtain of tourism in Luray Page County. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And one more plug, if anybody wants to find out any more information on exactly what we talked about, on a quarterly basis, I give these orientational programs. So reach out to us, sign up for one. We have one coming up in August, I believe. I'll be happy to give you a more thorough breakdown of everything that we have to offer here, all the figures, all the numbers. I'm even willing, if you can't make it to the ones I have preset and you have a business that has multiple employees, I'm willing to come to you. If you have an employee training and you want to be able to have all your staff in one room instead of them coming to me, I'm happy to bring that presentation to you and share that information.
Because a rising tide floats all boats. Isn't that the phrase?
I think so, yes.
A rising tide raises all ships. I like the float in the boat thing. That's why I always use that, whether that's the actual phrase or not. Gina, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for having me.
I will be back tomorrow. I will have a brand new episode of The Valley Today ready to go for you a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.